Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Restorative. Tonight, I'd like to use the body to feel and guide our consciousness toward two things that seem separate but are inextricably linked together. And these things are sound and silence. So what I'm hoping to do as we find each pose in the body is to relax our way into stillness, representing silence, and then to feel within that silence, with that space or within that realm of openness, the vibrational and moving and fluctuating qualities of the Om, of the vrittis, or the fluctuations of the mind and the heart, of the heartbeat, of the breath. And while we're resting tonight, I have some poetry and some things to share with you as you relax. So we're going to start by just scanning our chakra system, just kind of scanning the energy system, starting to look into the mind, look into the body, start to feel the breath and the heart. And in order to find our deepest stillness, we're going to take this first pose in a supported Shavasana. If you have one of these pranayama bolsters, which I've been talking a lot about lately, these are super great. There's a link on Patreon to purchase one of these for about $25. If you don't have one of those, you can make one or replicate one by folding a blanket. So I kind of folded a blanket widthwise about the length of my spine, and then just kind of folded it over itself several times, and it's about the same size. I kind of have a similar thickness and length for my blanket version. So you can always roll a towel or blanket instead of that pranayama bolster, but I do recommend splurging and getting one if you have the means. We will also maybe need 2 blocks if you do not have yoga blocks. Again, this is something that could be substituted for some couch cushions, some more rolled blankets or towels. And we will also need either a yoga bolster or a few bed pillows. So for our first pose though, the pranayama bolster or its blanket substitute is going to come underneath the knees. And we're just going to lay straight back and make a few adjustments so that you feel really, really supported. There won't be much fidgeting once you kind of get into your shape. Arms can literally be anywhere from sides to on the body to wide. Endless variations with your arms and hands. So just find a place that feels good to you. Kind of shake out the legs, gently and softly turn the head side to side. And then just find a position you can be very still. Maybe for the next few rounds of breath, you take a long breath in and a sigh out. Just be patient as you allow your body to settle into stillness. Find yourself grounded. Feel all the parts of the body that are supported by the floor. Your props. And with each breath out, let your body get heavier and more stable and more still. Allow your body to experience something like a silence after the busy work of the day, all the action from our day to day. Anytime you start to feel a little too active. Maybe another deep breath in and a long, slow sigh. And as you settle into that silence, that stillness, begin to tune your awareness and your senses into the parts of you that are still in motion, some kind of rhythmic or vibratory motion. We might feel the rise and fall of the chest as just a very slow vibration. Feel free to move your hands to your heart and belly if you like, to tap into the feeling of the breath flowing or the heart beating. Same, that squeeze and release is sort of a vibration, cyclical, repetitive pattern. And hopefully we're feeling both the stillness and the motion of the body. Notice also that as our body becomes still and the breath becomes slow and steady, that the mind also finds a kind of quiet. And yet this quiet or this silence that we feel only serves to make the fluctuations of the mind, the movements of the mind, the patterns of the mind more noticeable. And rather than feeling like we're not doing it right because the mind is not still, think of the body and the mind with the same level of patience and acceptance. Even as we find stillness in the body, we hope that the heart and the breath continue to move. And even as we find a relative stillness in the mind, we allow the movements of the mind, and rather than being caught up in them, simply observe. So we can think of our stillness, both in body and mind, as silence, and the ever-moving heartbeat, breath, and movements of the mind as the Om, as the vibration of all things, as the rhythm and sound of all things. Throughout practice tonight, I will remind you to feel the silence, and within that silence, feel the Om. We'll take about 1 more minute here. Find your deepest possible stillness and silence. And then tune your hearing, your sensitivity, your perception into those movements of vibration. Feel the silence. Feel the Om. Yogi Bhajan says that the more quiet you become, the more you can hear. The more still we are, the more perceptive we can become. For these last few breaths here, balance those two efforts: stillness, movement, silence, and the Om. As we transition from pose to pose tonight, we're going to try to move especially slow, taking the minimum amount of effort and the minimum amount of movement. So before you find any movement, kind of figure out where it is that you're going to go and how you're going to get there. What we're going to try to do is rise the torso from the floor into a seated position, but allow our legs to remain about the same position. So we could bend at the knees, plant the soles of the feet, and use the arms to push up. We could draw the knees into the chest and roll to one side and come up, or just simply press your way up with your arms. But whichever way you decide to come up, find the sitting bones, finding a solidness in the floor again. And we're going to use another set of props here. Our blocks, if you have them, or some stacked bed pillows or stacked folded blankets or towels could also work. And those are going to go kind of either between the ankles or maybe between the middle of the calves. And then we're going to take our bed pillows or bolster support and bring that to rest on top of our already elevated knees. Now, we can play with the position of your pillows or your bolster, whichever support you're using, to be a little further from the body or a little closer. Closer is going to be more support, further away is going to be a little bit less support. So feel free to play with that and using as little motion as possible. Just start to fold your way over the shape. Perhaps it's comfortable the way you are arranged for your head to rest on your support. If it's not, an additional folded blanket or block or bed pillow can come to the farther edge of your support to rest your forehead on. Arms, again, can rest anywhere that is comfortable. They might come back behind the body and just let the elbows fall forward with the hands resting near the hips. They might rest on that pranayama bolster or rolled blanket that's under your knees. Alternatively, they could come to rest on your bigger support that's in front of your body. So again, take your time to find the right position so that ideally, once you've found your pose, you're as close to stillness as your body can be. Take this opportunity again to settle into stillness, silence, and begin to become aware of both sound and vibration or movement or fluctuation. Tonight I'm reading to you from the Radiance Sutras. It's a beautiful text. Close your eyes and imagine an expanse of terrible darkness surrounds you. No objects, no light, no moon, no stars. Nothing but blackness spreading to infinity. Do not shrink in terror. Do not turn away. Give yourself to the blackness with no hope of light. Surrender completely. Contemplating this feeling, merge with the mystery of night. So feel in this forward fold shape, sort of turning away of the sensations of the world outside. Maybe we still hear some ambient sounds from the space that we're in. Maybe we still hear the sounds from within the body, sounds of digestion, heartbeat. Feel the pumping of the blood, the constant circular motion of your breath, even as you find stillness and quiet. Allow this sutra here to inspire you. There is a knower who experiences everything. There is a presence dancing everywhere. There is a lover who embraces us all. I am one with that light. I am one with that power. I am one with that love. Feel how the opposites of sound and silence become one within you now. Feel how the stillness of your bones and the movement of your heart, breath are one. Feel how the still and quiet mind is also alive with awareness and sometimes chatter. And Feel how those two minds are not separate, but are one mind with many qualities. We'll remain in our forward folded shape for about 10 more breaths, a little less than a minute. Sort of revel in the sense of darkness, of turning inward rather than outward. Feel how we feel protected around our heart as we fold over. Feel how there is space in the back body for the breath to flow. And the grounding of the heels, the backs of the legs, and the sitting bones. For these last few breaths in our fold, let each inhale allow you to feel the movement of what parts of you are in motion as you breathe. Feel how the heartbeat changes pace, faster as you inhale and slower as you exhale. And let each of these next few exhales let you settle a little bit more deeply into that stillness. Last breath in and out. And remember, as we transition, to move as slowly as you can. We're just going to rise back to our seated shape so we can rearrange our props into our next shape. Your bolster or bed pillow support can be set aside for just a moment. Blocks can also be set aside, or extra support blankets. The pranayama bolster or rolled towel or blanket might be useful for this next pose as well. So we might just put that to the side, but have it handy. Your bolster or bed pillow support is going to come behind you on the mat. Short edge close to where your sacrum will be. And we're going to take a couple of different shapes with our bolster support in this same position. So first we're going to bring one hip to that short edge, and you can start with either side. We will do both. Where your little rolled blanket or pranayama bolster will come in is that whichever hip is closest to that short edge, bring your other knee so that it either stacks near to your other knee or maybe further away. There's a lot of different places we could find this. Your further away hip might be a little off the floor. And before we find much else, we're just going to reach whatever arm is closest to the bolster. Reach that up and over, kind of spreading that side body, and then gently begin to lay that side body down. Your bottom arm now can just come in front of you. Your head will tilt down just a little bit towards the support that you have. Feel the top ear and the top shoulder, and see if you can gently pull that top shoulder down towards your waist to create a little bit of space there. Nothing straining, no muscles move like tensing, but just kind of make a little space there by arranging your top arm alongside your body. We're just going to take a few rounds of breath here, about a half a minute or so. Feel the side bodies open on top and the side body against the support, small and compressed. Feel support and solidness, and feel space. And then recognize that that solidness and that spaciousness is part of the same body. So feel the silence and feel the Om.
that top arm or hand that is resting along the top side of your body is just going to sweep in front of you and then reach up and overhead. So it's parallel to your torso, but reaching. We're going to take just about 3 breaths here, opening this top side of the body a little bit more. And then we're just going to take a handful of breaths as we swing that arm over so that the body rolls open. Now the chest and the heart is facing upward. That extended arm could come behind you for support. It can touch the floor or it can reach. We're just going to stay here for a few more rounds of breath. Your gaze might also turn away from your knees. Maybe one more breath here. Then allow that arm to make its long journey kind of up and overhead, that big arch. And let it pause in front of you on the mat or the bolster support that you're using. And then just gently press your body up. We're going to turn away from our pillow or bolster support so that the sacrum is now up against that short edge. Your pranayama bolster or blanket version can come underneath the knees again. And we have choices about where our legs fall. Notice which is most comfortable for you, which is going to provide the most stillness. Either the legs can be extended and space between the ankles kind of wide, or the soles of the feet might come to touch or closer together and just allow this support to be underneath your knees. The other thing you could do is soles of the feet on the floor, knees falling together. So just maybe test those 3 options, see which one feels best for you. And then slowly, we're going to curl the chin in towards the chest. So we're making the back body very long from the base of the skull all the way to the sacrum. And nice and slowly, remembering that all of our transitions are slow, roll that extra length in your spine down to the support that's underneath your body. Ideally, your head is supported here. You might need to rearrange your support a little bit to make that work. Hands can come down by your sides as in Shavasana or come out a little bit wider. They can also, again, rest above your head. Maybe one hand encircles the opposite wrist and the elbows just come wide. So again, play with your options. Choose one that will allow you to find deep stillness. So more than a stretch, we're looking for stability. Look for the silence. Settle into it. Let the body become very still. Then notice how finely tuned your senses become in this stillness and silence. What do you feel? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you perceive? What movements and vibrations, spectrums, are you still experiencing even in your silent stillness? Allow the stillness and the silence to have that meaningful merge into one. So this silence and stillness is also similar to darkness. The other halves of these things are movement, sound, light. And in the Radiance Sutras, we are asked to contemplate these things. Radiant One, please listen to me. The essence of all teachings is right here. Open your eyes. With a soft and steady gaze, look out upon creation. Receive waves of light as they enter your eyes, singing of infinity. The light touching the back of your eyes is immortal, born in the primal sun. Be present to this enlightenment. This is the ancient knowing, a sanctuary that is everywhere. Galaxies are flowers on this altar. Light moves on its pathways through space, enters the eyes, and you absorb the luminous. Each sense is a current of divinity, sparkling with mystery. Light, motion, space, vision, awareness, all are composed of omnipresence. The senses connecting you to the outer world are paths of communion with the inner world. Every sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, a greeting from the beloved. So in your silent stillness, take the senses that you would normally turn outward, your hearing, your sight, your taste, your touch, everything, and turn it inward on the self. What in your body or in your mind do you hear? What can you perceive? What can you sense? Feel the openness in your heart, like the senses opening to a finer and more subtle sensitivity. Feel the vibrant sound and sensory buffet that is this world, both your inner world and the outer world. And in your silent stillness, just witness the Om. Last breath here, nice long breath in and out. However your legs and feet have landed, bring the soles of the feet to the floor if they're not already. Very gently press into the feet, lift the sacrum off of your support for just a moment, kind of come into a flat back, lifting your sacrum up to about the level of your spine. Then gently relax the sacrum back down. And either roll to one side to come off your support or simply press your way up. Whatever hip you had closest to the short side of the mat, we're going to find the opposite side now. So hip closest to the bolster is going to be the bottom leg. You might use some support between your knees as you find that little deer shape. The further away hip might be a little off the floor. Then whatever arm is closest to your bolster, just reach that up and over, away from your support, opening up this side body, and then gently lay that extra space that we've made, very slowly, down over that support. Bottom arm just comes out in front of you. Find any place that's comfortable. Head again tilts downward towards your support. Top arm is going to just rest along the top side of the ribs, hand resting near the hip. Gently pull your shoulder away from your ear and just create a little space there. Then get all your little wiggles and fine-tuning adjustments out. Find a sense of stillness. These poses are shorter holds. So the idea is to get as much stillness as we can. See if you can find the place in your body where the spaciousness of one side of the body meets the compression and limitation of the other side of the body. Recognize that there is no boundary, that the body is now holding both qualities. This is sattvic balance. That top arm resting alongside the upper ribs and upper hip can start to reach its way up and overhead again. So arm is parallel to the torso, fingers reaching away from the shoulder, above the head. Just a few breaths here. Very intentionally opening this top side of the body now. Then start to reach that top hand toward the back body. Let that shoulder roll your chest open to face upward. Maybe your arm just kind of hovers there for a moment. Maybe you let it rest on the floor. Just about 2 or 3 more breaths in this shape. Then that extended arm begins to make its way back over towards the front of the body. It lands on the floor in front of your support, and then just gently again, let yourself rise back up to seated. We're going to move very gently and slowly into a couple more just gentle twists. We're going to hold these for a little bit longer so that we can feel the rotation of sort of the way the senses are facing, like the eyes, the ears, the mouth for taste and smell, the nose. A lot of the senses are located around the head. And we have those facing one direction, the heart facing another, the power center facing yet another, the belly facing another, the root center facing down, and the crown center facing up. So with all of these different motions, our tension is flowing. We're going to see if we can still find stillness. So whichever hip you had close to your bolster the first round of our last series of poses, we're going to find that same setup in the legs. So just finding your rest. The heart is going to lift up a little bit and then twist toward your support. And this is a place where you could put some blocks along that far edge at the very bottom underneath your pillows or your bolster, or some rolled blankets to lift this up to an angle if you like. But we're going to turn to face that support and then lower down. One arm is on either side of your supports. Your knees and nose can face in the same direction or in the opposite direction, and feel free to choose and then change your mind partway through the pose. But feel all the different directions that you are facing. Eyes might be closed, but the eyes, nose, and mouth are facing one way. The ears are facing another, the throat, yet another. The heart, the power center, the belly, the root center. And just feel that beautiful balance of motion that we feel in this twist shape, and yet relaxing into as deep a stillness as we can. See if you can relax all effort here and just allow the support to hold you. Twists do often feel like a twisting, turning, transformation kind of thing. Like there's a progress, like there's some kind of motion or action. But in restorative, these twists are very sedentary. So there's this sense of both a turning, an action, a change, and also a stillness. Just 5 more deep breaths in and out. Long breaths in, long breaths out. As you come to your last deep round of breath, bring your palms to face down and just gently press into your palms, rising again away, untwisting the body. Briefly, we'll set any support that's between the knees off to the side for a moment, soles of the feet on the floor. Hands can either rest on the knees or on the floor between the feet. Chin will come to chest, back of the heart opens. Look within. See both the stillness and the heaviness of the body in this shape, and also the spaciousness of the back body and the movements of the heart and breath. Feel the bothness. And then rise back to your neutral spine. Let the other hip again turn towards that short edge of your supports. Maybe setting up any support between the shins and knees. Turning toward your support system again. One hand on either side, open and lift the heart, and then just gently walk your body down to that support again. Again, choosing whether knees and nose want to face same or opposite directions. Palms can turn up or down. And then see how much you can just let go to the support. Let go of doing. Feel the paradox of the turning motion, the spiraling movement of the twist, and the stillness and passivity that we're experiencing in the twist in this moment. Ram Dass has this beautiful piece from his book, Be Here Now. As you settle into your deeper silence, deeper stillness, just allow these words to wash over you as you feel the silence and the om, the stillness and the motion. Push far enough into the void. Hold fast enough to quietness. And of the 10,000 things, none but can be worked on by you. I have beheld them, whither they go back. See all things, however they flourish, return to the roots from which they grew. This return to the roots is called quietness. Quietness is called submission to fate. What has submitted to fate becomes a part of the always so. To know the always so is to be illumined. Not to know it means to go blindly to disaster. So says Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching. To go, you've got to go the whole trip, all the way back, before you get to the place where you see that behind all this, there is all this in its own, in its unmanifest form. Always, eternally, you perceiving that nothing is really happening at all. Nothing ever happens. Nothing is going to happen. There's nothing you've got to do. There's no doer. Do it anyway. Just about 5 more breaths in your twist shape. Deep breaths in, long breaths out. Feel the motion and the passivity, the stillness and the vibration, the silence and the sound. Feel all of these opposites merging into oneness. As you come to that last breath, if the palms are not turned down, turn them down under your shoulders and gently press into the hands again to rise, untwisting the body. We're going to briefly revisit our back support before we move our supports again. So turning the sacrum again back toward your support, gently tucking the chin in towards the chest, shoulders coming forward, making the back body open, and then gently relaxing that spaciousness down into that support. Soles of the feet might remain on the floor. You might find one of those other 2 positions, the bound angle with the feet together, or the legs extending long and the ankles wide. Feel the silence. Feel the fluctuation, vibration of Om. About 5 more rounds of breath, just like we did in our side lying and twisting shapes. Big, long breaths in, long, extended exhales. Again, moving very slowly, either rolling to one side to come up, or just pressing your way back upright. I'd like for us to move into our final resting pose, but I'd like for there to be some options. If you are in a space where you can put your legs up a wall, that can be really nice. If you want to use a flat folded blanket or this pranayama bolster that we made underneath your sacrum, sometimes that can open the heart just a little bit. That might be nice. If you have your bed pillows or your bolster, that could also do what I call legs up the wall light, which is where the support is just underneath the calves, the feet are gently floating. You could alternatively stack the bolster a little higher with more blankets, or to place 2 blocks underneath that support as well. And then just come to lying on the back. You could also take a more traditional shavasana, just lying flat on the back, palms open, heart gently open, maybe just gently tuck the shoulder blades a little under the body. Alternatively, you can also use your pranayama bolster behind your body for what it's actually designed for. So just like we did in our back bending positions, I like the bolster just a little further away from my sacrum, and so it kind of touches around the top of my sacrum and my head supported. You might find that you like the bolster a little lower or that roll a little bit lower and the head unsupported so that your throat is also open. But the point of this is just to bring just enough support that the heart is a little higher than the shoulders. So take a look around. Look at what the tools are that you're working with and decide whether you would like a lot of support, very little support. And take your time to set yourself up so that when you relax, you're finding that deep, satisfying stillness and silence. That you might be more perceptive and more aware of the fluctuations of the breath, of the heart, of the mind, of the world moving around you, the world of your living body within you. Again, from the Radiance Sutras, as you settle into your stillness, all this talk of purity and impurity, these are just opinions. Beyond them are the miraculous energies of creation. Rays of light from 1 trillion suns illumine the altar of your sky. Rolling blue-green oceans sanctify the air you breathe. In this moment, you are inhaling their blessing. Who are you to call any of this pure or impure? Find the center around which everything revolves. Stand here and be flooded with joy. Delight in these meditations, my adored one. Play with creation as it plays with you. Playing, become smaller than an atom. Travel through the expanse of space and drink the elixir of immortality. Bathe in the stream of these life-giving teachings. Flirt with the tingling sparks of vitality surging through your body. Live your whole life as a festival, a celebration, liberated in love and work. The goddess then asks, if this is the nature of the universal self, then who is to be worshipped? Who do I invoke and who do I meditate upon? To whom do I offer oblations? To whom do I sacrifice? If everything is divine, and consciousness merges with that divine essence, then what happens to the distinction between worshiper and worshipped? Feel the Om. All the movements of breath and aliveness and consciousness and heartbeats in your body. All the nerves awakened, all the senses enraptured by everything. And feel the silence in which all of that movement is happening, the stillness in which all the movement is happening. Feel the silence, feel the Om.
Feel the silence. Feel the Om. Feel the stillness. Feel the fluctuations, the movements, the vrittis. Feel your individual self. Feel the universal self. And notice that all of these dualistic pairs of opposites are really one thing. Again, feel the places where your body is currently supported. Feel how your body has taken on the qualities of solidness, of steadiness, of stillness. Feel the body merging with the support underneath. Feel how the space around your body is open and formless and vast. And feel your heart, your chest, your lungs, your consciousness, finding this same kind of expansiveness. Notice how you've taken on the qualities of that openness. And again, if you try to find the place within the body or within your spirit where those two things merge, you'll find that there is no dividing line. That you are just holding both. Feel the breath in, the breath out as one breath. Take one last full breath in and out in this delicious stillness and silence. Then slowly, very slowly, take whatever route you need to come off of your support. Moving as slowly as feels good. And come to a seated position when your body finds its way there. Feel the stillness and steadiness in the lower half of the body connecting to the earth, taking on those qualities of solidness and steadiness. Feel all the open space around you. And as you take your next breath in, open your arms up wide, sweep out in a big wide circle. Feel all of that space around you. As you exhale, pull your hands in towards your heart center. Take a little gentle bow, looking inward, acknowledging all of this space, all of this steadiness within us and around us, finding the balance and the oneness between all these things. As we are more able to flow with this balancing energy, this sattvic energy, we flow through our lives much more easily. We acknowledge both the busy and the vrittis and the movements, the sounds, and also the silence, the stillness, the permanence. And as we acknowledge this within ourselves, we begin to see it reflected in others, beginning to recognize that they are also one with us and one with all that is. We close our practice with this prayer. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy, healthy, safe, and free. Namaste.